The campaign will continue until next Tuesday. Apart from motorists, pedestrians who have violated traffic regulations will be issued fixed penalty tickets with a fine of $2,000.
After his stay in New Zealand, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will head to Australia for the next stop of his trip. He last visited these two countries 7 years ago. According to China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, his current trip will lay the groundwork for top-levels visit later this year. SakuraIp, TVB News, Wellington.
More news after the commercial break. And that's the news. Thank you for watching. Good evening and thank you for joining us. With a surge in traffic-related death tolls, police launched a week-long enforcement campaign today to combat jaywalking and illegal driving behaviors. Take a look.
I think it's good because it's more safety and less more accident.
The campaign will continue until next Tuesday. Apart from motorists, pedestrians who have violated traffic regulations will be issued fixed penalty tickets with a fine of $2,000. The Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority says its eMPF platform is ready to be released. Trustees can transfer their accounts to the new digital platform in June at the earliest. A complete adoption of the eMPF system is predicted to be complete by the end of next year. Timothy Lee tells us more. The Legislative Council will hold a full meeting tomorrow to resume the second reading of the Safeguarding National Security Bill. Some lawmakers said they are prepared to hold an overnight meeting and hope that the legislation will be completed soon. Timothy Lee reports.
The LegCo meeting on the city's national security law was originally intended to be held on Wednesday. This as LegCo President Andrew Leung called the Secretary for Security Chris Tang to notify him of the meeting being brought forward. Leung also agreed to Tang's request to resume the second reading of the National Security Bill in accordance with the lawmaking body's rules of procedure. Leung stressed the decision was made out of urgency. He said the meeting is available for public view and that there is a consensus among members of the public to speed up the legislation work. According to the procedure, the relevant bills committee chairman will offer the suggestions of committee members after the second reading. Each lawmaker is given one chance to make a statement limited to 10 minutes before casting their votes. Once passed, the bill will be considered by the Committee of the Whole Council, which will scrutinize the 91 amendments suggested by the government. Each lawmaker will have the chance to make several statements, each limited to 5 minutes. The bill will then enter into its third reading, when lawmakers can make one statement each, limited to 3 minutes. If the motion is passed, the bill completes its passage into the Legislative Council. It will then go to the Chief Executive for his signature and will be gazetted. Today's meeting began at 9 a.m. and could last up to 26 hours if all lawmakers make a statement. Some lawmakers shared their views on the long session. Lawmaker Regina Ip emphasized she is mentally prepared to hold an overnight meeting. She stressed the legislative work is a historic task. While lawmaker Un Chao-pei echoed the sentiment, saying that he feels touched to help complete the national security legislation. Some lawmakers said they hope the government will provide more education to the public once the law is passed. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin basked in a victory early Monday as results showed him easily securing a fifth term in office after facing only token challengers and suppressing the opposition. He said his victory shows Moscow was right to stand up to the West in sending troops into Ukraine. Meanwhile, the United States, Britain and other nations said the vote was neither free nor fair. Tracy Furness has more. Across Russia, there were signs of opposition to the presidential election as Molotov cocktails were thrown at polling locations and dye being poured in ballot boxes. This as opposition candidates have been imprisoned as Western countries call the election neither free nor fair. NBC has more. North Korea fires short-range ballistic missiles into the sea as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits neighboring South Korea for a conference hosted by President Yoon Suk-yeol on advancing democracy. The president of South Korea underscored the critical role of technology in shaping democracy during the opening session of the Third Summit for Democracy in Seoul. Foreign Minister Wang Yi today met with New Zealand's president and foreign minister during his official visit to Wellington. He said he hopes the visit will strengthen cooperation between the two countries in all areas. SakuraIp reports from New Zealand.
After his stay in New Zealand, Foreign Minister Wang Yi will head to Australia for the next stop of his trip. He last visited these two countries 7 years ago. According to China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, his current trip will lay the groundwork for top-level's visit later this year. SakuraIp, TVB News, Wellington.
More news after the commercial break. Welcome back. Israeli forces have stormed the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City. Hamas officials reported several people were killed and parts of the building on fire. The Palestinian Health Ministry in Gaza called it a violation of international law. Israel said the raid was necessary as senior terrorists were regrouping. David Garrett reports. That locally, more than 200 luminous eggs will be installed in the central harborfront starting next Monday. The police noted an upward trend of children being involved in sexual abuse cases related to internet usage. Authorities stress many youngsters are unaware of the risks of sending nude photos of themselves online. Police Tatler Hong Kong announced further details of ticket refunds for Inter Miami's match in the city in February. Those who purchase the game's tickets through Klook can get a 50% refund and must respond to the organizer's email on or before the 12th of April. Those eligible. More sports, Manchester United beat Liverpool 4-3 in extra time with virtually the last kick of a dramatic FA Cup tie. United now meet Coventry in the last four. David Garrett reports. To golf, Scottie Scheffler became the first to retain the Players' Championship in its 50-year history in one of the most action-packed final days Sawgrass has seen. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.